So happy 10 years. That's just incredible. It really is. I mean, there's some organizations I work with that survive, and there's others that thrive. And I get a general feeling here that we've got more of a thrive than just survive. All right, let me hit the pause button. So an observation from the front of the room, that was kind of encouraging. Every once in a while, I'll ask an organization, hey, what does it take to be a rock star? If you were really going to knock it out of the water, if you're going to produce more business this year than you ever have, what would it take? And every once in a while, people just kind of look back at me like, dude, that's really a good question. Right? If you don't know what it takes to be a rock star, guess what? You're never going to be a rock star, right? If you don't know how to get to New York, it's really hard to get to New York. So the reason we ask this question is just to get you to reflect. I mean, do you really know what it takes to be a rock star? So you've written down some key ideas. Here's step 2 of the exercise. Now I want you to compare your notes with folks around you, maybe 2 or 3 at a time. And when you compare your notes, see if there aren't some common threads. Spend the next minute and do that for me if you would, please. Okay, let me circle you back if I could. Almost hate to shut it down. So thanks for doing that exercise for me. So quick recap of where we are. The first step of the exercise was, hey, working alone, can you define a rock star sales rep? Most of you wrote down some ideas. The second step of the exercise then was, hey, share your ideas with folks around you and see whether or not there were common threads. My question to you is this: were there common threads, yes or no? Yes. Does that surprise you? All right, good. So we're going down the right path. So here's what I want to do. I want to hear what some of those top common threads were, and I'm going to ask Ray to be my recording secretary. Will you capture some of these for me? Because I want to be able to go back and talk about them. So if you had one common thread, what was one of the common threads you talked about? Focus. Okay, focus. Let's write down focus. Why is focus so important today? You can get distracted by a double ton of stuff. There is so much going on out there. And in my own life, here's what I'm starting to experience is that when I slow down, I go faster. You ever thought about that? Sometimes I got too many things going on and stuff starts falling through the cracks, and the wrong proposal gets the wrong person with the wrong pricing. It's like, what am I doing? And if I'm not focused, then I'm not going to produce the kind of business results I want to produce. So focus is great. What was another common denominator?
Creativity.
Well, creativity. Great. Why is creativity important?
New ways of doing things.
New ways of doing things. You know, it's amazing because there are a lot of folks in this room that look like they've been selling for a while, right? And sometimes you come to a program like this and it's like, look, you're really not going to teach me anything I don't know. Or even worse, it's like, hey, don't bother me. I got it going on. Right? I'm in a groove. Well, you know, if you stay in a groove long enough, what happens? It becomes a rut, and the difference between a rut and a grave is about that far. Right? So I'm just saying, being creative and constantly looking at what you're doing and how you're doing it. If what you're doing right now is working, awesome. But that's probably not going to work in 3, 6, 9 months because the world is changing around us. And if you keep doing it the same way without adding new tricks to your bag, you get dull, tired, and boring. What else did you guys come up with? What's another common thread? Listen. Listening is so important. It's one of our key communication skills. True or false? Is it the most important communication skill?
Yes.
See, you guys, you read the book. All everybody else has read. Let me just go. It is a very, very important communication skill. And I think it's something all of us need to possess. But here's what I'm going to tell you. If you think listening is the most important communication skill, you bought a steaming pile of hooey. No, I'm serious. Watch. I, as a sales professional, can be an expert at listening. All eyes on teacher. In 5 seconds, I will demonstrate black belt listening in 4, 3, 2, 1. Very talented. See, if you just sit here and listen, the conversation is going to go random places if the conversation goes at all. You've got to be great at listening, but you've got to be really awesome at asking questions. I mean, early on in my sales career, I showed up to listen, and it wasn't necessarily a warm, fuzzy sales call. And all I'd hear is breathing sounds. And I thought to myself, this isn't going anywhere real positive. So listening is key, but asking questions is critical. All right, what else did we come up with as common stuff? Persistence. Persistence, persistence, persistence. We're going to talk about persistence today. The way I see it, if people wanted to buy your stuff, they'd follow up with you. right? So that's why we have to be persistent, is because we're not necessarily the center of their universe. And it took me a lot of years to figure that out, but my customers don't wake up in the morning and think about me. I wake up in the morning and think about them. Right? Very seldom does a customer wake up and think about, oh, this is my favorite vendor. I hope he calls today. No. But, right? But we as salespeople, we wake up thinking, man, I hope I have an opportunity to meet with Joe, Bob, Susan, or Sally. So we have to be persistent. You know, I was with a rep a couple weeks ago that made a sales call, and the gist of the sales call was, I know you've never bought our stuff, and I'm not here to try to sell you our stuff. I'm here because I'm trying to figure out why you don't buy our stuff. Because everybody else in your space does. So no, I know you don't buy. I'm not going to try to sell you anything, but I don't understand why you don't buy. And I thought that was a brilliant form of persistence, really hanging in there, trying to figure out what's going on. What's another top trait or characteristic? Please.
Understand the customer's business.
Yeah, understanding the customer's business. That's the only way we can really be an ally. That's the way we can become a trusted advisor, but we've got to know a little bit about them. Don't have to be an expert, but we have to do some research. We have to do some homework.
Commonality.
Commonality between you and the...
Well, if you go in and you're talking to a business owner, you have some kind of commonality that you're a business owner too. Right off the bat, you have something in common.
Yeah, what happens when you find common ground?
There's a trust there.
Yeah, when you have common ground with people, what happens to the quality of the relationship? Does it go up a little bit or go down a little bit? Goes up. You got a bond. So it can be, hey, we're both business owners. It can be, anybody in the room like to play golf? Show of hands. All right, so I'm an avid golfer. If all of us that like to play golf stepped out in the hall and had a cup of coffee, how long could we talk for? I'd miss the flight, I guarantee you, right? Because we'd find that common ground. So whether it's golfing or grandkids or things you like to do in your spare time, it doesn't matter. But when you find those common grounds, it's very, very powerful. So play back for us. What is it? What does it take, Ray, to get to the top here?
Focus.
Focus.
Creativity.
Creativity.
Listen.
Listening.
Persistence.
Persistence.
Understanding the customer's business.
Understanding the customer's business.
And common ground.
And common ground. And that is a six-pack of great ideas.
Asking the right question.
And asking the right questions. We'll throw one in. Buy 6, get 1 free. So we've got all these ideas. Here's my question to you, though. Is I flew all the way up here from Dallas to help you guys all become rock stars. But it appears to me that you already know what it takes to be a rock star. I haven't really told you anything. You've told me, hey, look, want to be a rock star? Here's the list. 6 of them and a 7th thrown in that you kind of gave us some insights on. So how come we're not all rock stars?
Who says we're not?
What's that? Oh. Ruh-roh. Okay. That's a great question. Let me rephrase my question. Why not? Is it possible that all of us can change our trajectory? Is it possible that all of us can get a little bit better?
Yes.
Right? Do you believe you could get 1% better in 24 hours if you really focused on a few key ideas?
Yes.
Most people believe that, look, you give me one key idea, and if I focus on it, I could get 1% better in 24 hours. If you get 1% better in 24 hours, and you commit to that every day, in 72 days, you're twice as good as you are right now. Do the math, right? Get 1% better, and then you get 1% better on top of that, and 1% better, and then in 72 days, you're going to be twice as good. So in other words, before the end of November, you could be at a completely different level. So none of the ideas you're going to see today are going to be like, oh, I never thought about listening before. No, these ideas are ideas that we've seen for a long time. We just have to get really, really good at mastering them. So when I look at sales reps that I've had the honor of working with or the honor of leading, this is kind of the list of words that always resonated with me. In other words, if you showed up in my office and you showed me that you were credible and empathetic and prepared and persistent and competent, enthusiastic, reliable, professional, attentive, friendly, passionate, those are the kinds of qualities I always look for when I was hiring a rep. But you know what the most important quality of any of those is? It's the F word. Fun. I honestly believe, after 17 years of leading sales organizations, I learned like 3 things. And one of the 3 things I learned was the people that have the most fun drive the most results. I didn't say the people that drive the most results have the most fun, because sometimes that happens, right? You get some people that are having a good year that are a lot of fun, and then they're not having a good year and they're not a lot of fun, right? But there are people that are genuinely fun, and when you're fun, I think good things happen, and you draw business to yourself. I mean, have you ever had the experience of having to work with somebody who wasn't fun? Yeah. Who's the donkey in Winnie the Pooh? You ever had to work with somebody like that? Oh no, gotta make a call on you today. You know, how much business are you going to generate with that kind of an attitude? So these are the key characteristics we're looking for. What separates great reps from everybody else? Well, here's the best 2-word answer I've got for you guys is hard work. Hard work. Why is it hard work? Because unlike lawyers or doctors or accountants or CPAs, all of those folks that live in our neighborhoods, they all went to school and got certified, got degrees, studied how to do that. Do you know of any university that offers, an undergrad or a graduate degree in professional selling? Most of us are accidental salespeople, right? You know what I'm saying? We studied something else and we ended up in a sales role. I think I shared with you guys 2 years ago, my undergrad was in electrical engineering, right? So I get out of college, I'm an electrical engineer. And I'm working for HP at the time, and I'm doing research. And I'm back in the lab with a soldering iron. And, things are catching on fire. Like, I am really bad. And finally, management came to me and said, dude, we got to get you out of the lab before somebody dies. And I was like, well, what are you thinking? And they said, hey, we think we're going to give you a sales job. And I'm like, oh, there's no way. It took me 5 years to get my degree. And I'm going to call mom and dad back on the farm and say, hey, guess what? I'm a salesman. I mean, my mother 23 years ago didn't look down in her crib and go, oh, Tim, I hope you grow up to be a salesman. No. I mean, she wanted me to be a doctor or a lawyer, a dentist, something, but not a salesperson. So I was like, there's just no way I want to be a salesperson. And then I got to thinking about it. It's like, whoa, salespeople. My image of salesperson at 23 was this. They show up late, they go home early, and they play golf every Thursday. And so I thought, you know what? I'm all in. And that first year of selling, I showed up late, I went home early, and I played golf every Thursday. Guess how much I sold? No, I sold a ton. I sold my skis, my motorcycle, my stereo. You see what I'm saying? You had to make ends work, but I learned very, very quickly that being good at selling is hard work. The best one-word answer I'm going to give you guys is this. You've got to be a master. You have to master the things you just talked about. You have to master your focus. You've got to master your ability to listen. You've got to master your ability to find out about the customer and the customer's business. You've got to be a master at persistence. And as soon as we're able to master all those things, then we'll be at the top.